Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming to see us today.
My pleasure.
Tell me, what was your initial reaction when you saw the South Carolina GOP, what they tweeted out? What did you think about that?
A part of it just goes with politics and the people hit. But the question is, why hit? Because I haven't said I'm running. I said I will take the next 30 days and explore the best way possible to try and get voice out there on the importance of discussing debt and deficit and government spending that are in no way a part of the current presidential debate. I think that that's important whether you're a Republican or whether you're a Democrat. And so the idea of immediately hitting because you simply raised the question to me seems odd, but it's indicative of our times, which is on both sides of the aisle, people just completely circle the wagon. And if it's on the Republican side, no, you can't say anything that might be objectionable to President Trump. And on the Democratic side, the same thing within the conference. And I think that's a real mistake because our country was made great by the competition of ideas. And one of the things that's not being, again, deliberated, debated upon in that tug of war is what do we do about this financial storm that's clearly coming our way that nobody's discussing on the Republican or Democratic side of the aisle.
How are you going to change that conversation?
Well, I mean, we're having this conversation right now. I can't change it. But what I can do is hopefully be a catalyst to a lot of folks around the kitchen counter saying, you know what, if we don't get our arms around the current trajectory of the way that our government's running deficits as we've never run them before, if we don't get our arms around the level of debt that we've never had in our nation before, if we don't get our arms around the spending that are driving both, we're going to be in a world of hurt. And our retirement will be impacted, the value of the dollar will be impacted, the value of all we've saved to date will be impacted, my children's future or grandchildren's future will be impacted. This is the most predictable financial storm in the history of man that's coming our way. And those are not my words, those are the words of Erskine Bowles, who led a commission in Washington. He was a Democrat, and you could hear the same thing from Republicans. Everybody knows this storm is coming, but everybody's pretending it's not.
I don't know if you've made this kind of decisions yet if you do run, but why not run as an independent if some of the things that you've been talking about sound more like an independent as opposed to a Republican, or do there? Is it more just within the lines
I'm a Republican. I've long been a Republican. But I think we need to have a real conversation within the Republican Party as to what we're about. Financial conservatism, financial realism used to be a part of the platform of the Republican Party. It's one of the things that people liked about the Republican Party. And it's John Boehner who said, I don't know where the Republican Party is these days. I think it's taking a nap. We need to have a robust conversation about what we believe in spending. I think that, the idea of just simply saying, well, if the guy at the top's not going to talk about it, we're not going to talk about it, is a disservice to ourselves and to those we love, and more importantly, to what the party stood for over a long period of time.
What do you think it's going to take for you to actually say, yes, I'm going to throw my hat in, like I'm ready to go? Like, is this...
Yeah, what you'll do over the next 30 days is have a whole lot of different conversations with different folks. And based on those conversations, either, resources and people are going to come in your direction saying, we want to help, and I got a lot of emails to that effect today, or there'll be a bunch of people saying, no, you shouldn't, and we're going to put up some big walls to make sure that you can't or don't. Or there'll be a lack of energy coming into. I mean, I'll get a sense, but I think after 30 days, I'm going to have a very clear sense of what I should do next in terms of trying to impact this debate.
Do you think this will be enough to send a wake-up call just by exploring this possibility? Do you think that we are, like you said, we're already having this conversation? What will it take to move that needle, as you said?
Yeah, I hope. I mean, I hope that I won't watch another round of Democratic debates based on, as I think I mentioned to you a moment ago, I'm going to be doing a CNN interview this evening. I'll do another one tomorrow morning. I hope that, should they be moderating the next debate, that one of the questions that they infuse into the panelists' round of questions is indeed a question and some level of conversation on debt and deficit and what comes next on that front. I would hope that even deliberating on this would have that kind of impact, but we'll see.
What are you going to change as far as if you are able to start making some changes in the conversation about deficit and debt? What do you want people to hear right now about what's happening in this country? You're telling me there's a storm coming.
Right.
Tell me what the storm looks like.
The storm looks like this. 2/3 of our economy is driven by consumer spending. Much of that is driven by what's called a wealth effect. In other words, people talk about the economy's going pretty well, I got a job, my 401k is doing okay, they spend money at the mall. If all of a sudden you have contraction on that front, it's a ripple down that ripples through the economy and really slows things down. I think that that is coming. And I say that because we're now in the longest economic recovery in American history. And we have asset values, look at the price of a house in Mount Pleasant, that have really crept up as this effect has taken place. You reverse that and all the same opposites begin to come into play. And so I guess put it this way, we face the danger of our economy slowing down based on a slowdown to some of this effect. We also face a real danger based on us being in a spot we've never been before. The deficits that we're projected to run, we've never run deficits this big. Our debt to GDP, our debt to the overall economy is at levels it's never been at before. The fastest growing area of expenditure in the federal government is interest cost. Think about this. If you're a Democrat, we will spend more on interest next year than we spend on children in the United States of America at a federal level. That's more than on education, that's more on welfare, more than aid to families. If you're a Republican, and not the two are mutually exclusive, perhaps you're focused on national defense. We will spend more on interest than we do on national defense in just 3 years. That's all of those C-17s that we see out at the airfield here in Charleston. That's all of the folks on nuclear subs. That's all the folks that you see on all the different branches of the military on a yearly basis. And that's just in 3 years. We will spend more on interest than we do on all of domestic discretionary in just 5 years. Domestic discretionary is everything that Congress debates every single year. That's House and Senate. All those debates between Republicans and Democrats, cancel them all out because just our interest cost will be greater than all of that. I mean, nobody's thinking about these numbers. So part of what I'm trying to do is to say, can we build awareness? Can people even recognize that we have a problem? Because what a lot of people say is, economy seems to be doing okay, I'm doing okay, I don't think we have a problem. But as sure as you have a sunny day on the beach at Sullivan's Island or the Isle of Palms, when there's a storm, a day or two out, it's just as real here. We're having a sunny day, but there's a storm right off the coast.
I think that's an analogy we all can relate to now.
Yeah.
Thank you. I assume that you'll have some solutions you'll be sharing with us too.
Absolutely.
Good. Thank you. Anything you want to say right now as far as solutions go?
No, I mean, there aren't. It's simple math but hard politics, and that's why nobody wants to talk about it. So we're doing the three monkeys routine of I hear no evil, I see no evil, I speak no evil, and we just pretend it goes away. And all I'm suggesting is it's telling when Admiral Mike Mullen, who was the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, when asked what's the biggest national security threat to the United States, answers not the Chinese, not the Taliban, but the American debt. And yet that's not a part of this presidential debate. And so what has hit me is I need to try and make it so. I need to do anything within my power to try and elevate that issue, because if not, we're going to get surprised by a storm. And when you get surprised, as they used to do before there was weather, with a hurricane that comes in the day after a beautiful day on the coast of South Carolina, people really get hurt. If we're not ready for this storm, people are really going to get hurt.
Thank you. I appreciate anything else, anybody?
State of